The Oreshnik missile is Russia's latest addition to its intermediate-range ballistic missile arsenal. With a range of 3,000 to 5,500 kilometers, it represents a blend of space and technology, and space and military technology, developed by Roscosmos. And originally for satellite launches, it's now been repurposed for military applications. I'll go into its features in a minute, but I was encouraged to make this little video about the details of the missile because there's this fellow here called Hazelnut Surprise who says both host and guest clearly believe that President Putin carries out state-sponsored terrorism. I'd love to hear them expand on that assertion with an example. Well, the example is the Oreshnik missile, but I was greatly amused by this particular post. Hazelnut is the translation of Oreshnik, and I'm getting a bit tired of the Russian trolls on the site, but there's not very much that can be done other than identifying them, and so answering the points raised, or the points not raised, and here it's important. I think it's important for us to understand how this missile was developed. So it's a light carrier rocket for small satellites. So it's got this payload which can be released, and lots of little satellites can pop out, and it's been adapted to military use. And the missile employs advanced environmentally friendly propellants, liquid methane and oxygen. It runs effectively on cow flatulence, and it's capable of high-speed travel, going 13,000 kilometers per hour, improved maneuverability, and this of course complicates interception by defensive systems. It's equipped with multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles that can deliver multiple warheads to different targets, which enhances its strategic impact. And it has a lofted trajectory, making interception by traditional missile defense systems all the more difficult. But more than that, it can be launched either from this sort of traditional rocket site, or it can be launched from a mobile station. That makes it extraordinarily maneuverable, even though it's very big. And the strike, the focus on Dnipro's Yuzmash industrial plant, which is apparently a Ukrainian military industrial facility, which wasn't hit. Warehouses were hit. It marks Oreshnik's debut in combat, but the missile's deployment has more symbolic than practical implications. So despite its advanced features and its name, Hazelnut, a tribute to the fellow who left the comment, the strike reportedly caused minimal physical damage. It injured 2 people that we know. It raises questions about its cost effectiveness compared to alternatives like Iskander missiles. If it didn't quite strike where it was supposed to, if it didn't do the damage it was supposed to do, its purpose is purely symbolic. I mean, that is quite an enormous purpose, but and the psychological and the strategic messaging that is sent. The attack signals Russia's technological capabilities and resolve, serving as a deterrent and a form of global blackmail. It aims to intimidate Ukraine and its Western allies, projecting this image of military superiority and technological defiance. The Oreshnik's development aligns with the post-INF treaty era. So after the treaties collapsed in 2019, Russia openly pursued intermediate-range missile programs, and the Oreshnik, which likely evolved from the Rubezh program, which began under the masquerade of intercontinental ballistic missile development to circumvent treaty constraints is one of the products of this period. It underscores Moscow's willingness to escalate its military response, targeting civilian and critical structure in Ukraine. And this could provoke more severe Western countermeasures or encourage Ukraine's allies to provide advanced defensive systems. And by deploying this new high-profile weapon, Russia aims to shift the narrative in peace talks. President Zelensky has accused Putin of leveraging the Oreshnik to derail potential negotiations, especially as the US transitions to this new administration under Trump, who's expressed an interest in ending the conflict. The Oreshnik highlights the erosion of arms control agreements, partly a result of Trump, and risks a renewed arms race. Moscow's messaging suggests conditional interest in resuming talks on treaties like the New START, contingent on concessions over Ukraine and European security. NATO has so far resisted engaging in an arms race, emphasizing conventional responses over nuclear or intermediate-range missile deployments. But the West's restraint, which tries to avoid validating Russia's narrative of escalation, nevertheless gives room for Russia to develop its new weapons and its new aggression. So the missile's deployment raises questions about its practicality. Is it cost effective? Its high development costs make it an inefficient choice for routine strikes. So that limits what it can do. It limits how much you can scale this, the use of the Oreshnik. And given its experimental nature, Russia almost certainly has a very small stockpile, reducing its strategic impact over any sustained conflict. And firing the Oreshnik in combat rather than controlled tests forfeits valuable the acquisition by Russia of valuable operational data. The Oreshnik is less about battlefield superiority, I think, and more about signaling global power. Its use complicates the peace efforts by escalating tensions and showcasing Russia's development in technology. But its effectiveness as a deterrent is undermined by economic and logical constraints. So, as Russia is wasting money sending this missile into Ukrainian into a Ukrainian civilian site, into a city, at the same time the ruble is collapsing, butter is scarce. It is actually kept in little locked containers now. I remember talking to somebody in Moscow the other day, and they were saying that butter was in short supply, just as I was smothering a piece of toast with it. And I'm sure people in Russia would much prefer butter than great quantities of Oreshniks. Butter and hazelnuts. And so I think given those economic constraints, the role of the Oreshnik missile is likely to be more symbolic than something that's going to transform the conflict in physical and practical terms. The missile exemplifies how advanced military technology can serve as a tool for negotiations, for maneuvering, for diplomatic maneuvering, rather than for warfare in this high-stakes chess game.